everyone. This is Dowish JC here, and we got another jam-packed ZetaRadio live session, excuse me. I'm really pumped for this. A lot of activities going on all around the world in the Zeta ecosystem, and hopefully can give you a glimpse into some of what's happening over the next hour. We're going to kick off with the big sushi partnership news. We got some leaders from their team joining, and then we'll transition into the Stack Up news that was just released about 30 minutes ago. This is the first developer learn to earn program with courses on how to build omni-chain dApps, and we'll get into that with their team. Bitget Wallet is also going to be joining. They just debuted their learn to earn program on Zeta Chain. We will dive into the infrastructure map that we released last week. We will hear from the Carrot DAO founder, was able to squeeze him into the lineup today. And then finally, a word from the Zeta community in Korea to close out the session. And if all goes smoothly, we'll have about 8 awesome panelists joining us over the next hour. So without further ado, let's jump into Sushi Swap news. There should be a tweet pinned up. Yeah, I see that here. So you can read the background as we talk through this. So joining us on the line is Goose, the community lead at Sushi. And we also have Dennis Fadiv, core contributor leading DevX at ZetaChain. Gentlemen, welcome to Zeta Radio.
How's it going? Thanks for having us.
Awesome. So yeah, the big headline the other week, quote, Sushi partners with ZetaChain for first native BTC support. This is enabling BTC swaps in a single step without wrapping or bridging. Goose, maybe catch us up on the Sushi XSwap product and how this Zeta partnership is playing into the future plans for it.
Sure, man. Sure. So XSwap is our Sushi's cross-chain swapping product. It allows you to swap the native assets across chains. We're currently live on 7 chains. I believe those are Ethereum mainnet, Base, Arbitrum, Optimism, Polygon, Avalanche, and Binance are the 7. And yeah, it's currently actually in V2. Main upgrade being the Circle's CCTP. Allows for the minting and burning of native USDC tokens on any supported chain. So it's basically just chain agnostic native USDC. And it also has payload executors, which is allows for the gas fees to be charged to the source chain as opposed to the destination chain. So you don't no longer really need gas on the chain you're bridging to, which is great UX. If you haven't tried it, you should check it out. I use it every day. Yeah, the Zeta Chain partnership, I mean, obviously, it allows the ability to swap Bitcoin natively, which is huge. You know, it's the biggest asset there is. Kicked off this whole circus, you know, all without wrapping or bridging. I mean, you basically just you laid it out there, right there for us. I mean, it's a perfect integration for us as far as the cross-chain swapping product goes, which is really kind of our bread and butter currently as far as volume is. So, kind of a no-brainer for us there.
Thanks. Yeah, for sure. And I'm curious, like, what led your team down the path of adding support for native Bitcoin? Like, was this something that you guys were scoping out in the market? And ultimately, how did you guys land on ZetaChain?
Yeah, well, you know, I think we had always planned on, you know, eventually adding native Bitcoin functionality. Like I said, I mean, it's the king, right? And so it was inevitable. I mean, part of what makes sushi is that, you know, we kind of we're on 30 plus chains, right? And so we provide a single, you know, unified interface that people are comfortable with on all these things. So it made sense that we would incorporate it eventually. However, as I'm sure y'all can attest, there are tons of limitations, you know, when it comes to the current cross-chain, you know, messaging solutions for non-EVM compatible stuff. So, you know, it basically leaves you with 2 choices. You can either kind of build your own solution and spend money on the research and the dev lift time, or you got to wait for a better option to come along, and y'all were the better option. But Zeta Chain as a whole, I mean, basically the huge benefit that y'all bring to the thing here is that we can basically use y'all as a base layer, right? Y'all have that token standard, the ZRC20, to swap assets natively on any supported chain, and our whole thing is interoperability. So the fact that we can use that and just obviously seamlessly swap between all of those, I mean, it just made all the sense in the world. And then obviously native Bitcoin functionality on top is just the cherry. So I mean, just in terms of interoperability itself, it's like a huge leap forward, right? So again, Zeta it was honestly a no-brainer as far as we were concerned. We were very happy to have this come to fruition.
Yeah, and Dennis, maybe I'll loop you in here. Goose mentioned the ZRC20 standard, so you could basically trade or involve Bitcoin in any sort of app, sort of like an ERC20 token. Maybe you could talk about what's happening under the hood with this omni-chain smart contract architecture. One of the benefits, obviously, is Bitcoin connectivity here. Maybe you could talk about that and any other benefits about the architecture for end users, like why should they care?
Hey everyone, thanks for having me. Yeah, of course. So the way it works under the hood is relatively straightforward from end users' point of view. Well, ideally, users shouldn't even need to know all these things, but if you want to kind of dig a bit deeper, the only thing a user needs to do at the end of the day to deposit BTC onto Zeta Chain is just to send one native BTC transfer on Bitcoin. Nothing special about it. It's just a native transaction. The only thing that is different is the memo, right? So memos are typically not processed, right, by the chain. It's just a way for people to attach some kind of metadata to a transaction. But what Zeta Chain does is it interprets this memo, and if it conforms to Zeta Chain's standard, then it gets processed, right? So the memo format is very simple. The first thing, the first 20 bytes is an omni-chain contract address. The rest are just bytes that get sent to this contract. So it's very simple, right? You have BTC transferred to a TSS address on Bitcoin, and the memo contains an omni-chain contract and bytes that get passed as arguments. So as soon as BTC hits the TSS address, it gets locked in this address. This address is secured by validators of Zeta Chain. So we have signer validators who each have fragments of the key that secures this address. And once BTC gets transferred to this address, an inbound transaction is created to effectively deposit it on Zeta Chain in the ZRC20 format. So BTC gets essentially BTC gets minted. ZRC20 BTC gets minted on Zeta Chain and deposited into a contract, and a contract can do anything with it, right? It can be a swap contract, it can be a staking contract. You can mint NFTs based on the information you receive from Bitcoin. So it's a very flexible system where you can both deposit value onto Zeta Chain, but also you can pass any arbitrary data to your contracts. And we have examples of how to do this and how to leverage this arbitrary data passing capability. And yeah, the awesome thing is that you can now very easily trigger arbitrary smart contracts on Zeta Chain directly from Bitcoin.
Nice. Yeah. And we'll hear from Bitget Wallet in a bit. They're going through that process of adding memo support. It's fairly straightforward. And then the interoperability with Zeta Chain could be extended to Dogecoin and other non-smart chains. So eventually, when we add support for those, Sushi and all the other apps in the ecosystem will benefit. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about implementation of Zeta Chain. I know, Goose, that Jiro is leading the deployment here. He's quoted in the article saying Zeta Chain's EVM compatibility streamlines our integration process. Using our existing Ethereum smart contracts on Zeta Chain will create a lot of new use cases for Sushi, like Bitcoin, which we've been talking about. Like it sounds, as a developer, you can pretty much deploy existing Ethereum contracts out of the box on Zeta Chain, and then the app becomes interoperable with other chains, and you inherit support for Bitcoin. Curious, like, what's the deployment process actually like in practice? I know you're not leading this technically, but from
Right.
conversations on the team, yeah.
Yeah. No. So from what, like you said, I'm not really leading it myself, but from what I can understand, it's actually the ease of it just being like the fact that it's not that it is EVM compatible and that we can leverage our contracts. You know, there's no new lift in the background for anything like that. It's more of a, it's not really a what's the best way to put this? It's not that the deployment process itself is any easier than any other EVM compatible. It's just it's super nice that it is EVM compatible, right? And so that we get to hang on to our battle tested contracts we've had this whole time. I mean, it's all of this stuff comes down to architecture, and like moving around your architecture, re-architecting stuff for lack of a better term is just not ideal. And I mean, you have to move stuff around and you're always stepping on people's toes. We got multiple people working very hard in the background here, but they kind of have their own space, right? And so it's like, if it's one of those things, you push something to production and you accidentally break something that someone else has been working on, you're kind of back to square one, right? So I actually think that the ease of it to be EVM compatible, and we don't have to change anything. I mean, I think that's actually really what he was getting at, is that it's easy. It's not a whole lot from us. I mean, we get nothing but benefits for just not a whole lot of engineering lift on our end, which everybody can attest these days is nice, right? So yeah, but Jiro's going to hop on here in a little bit too to expand on that a little bit. So if we want to circle back to that, I'm sure he can flush that out a little bit more for you, give you a little bit better of an answer.
Sounds good. Yeah, and Dennis, anything to call out there? Like, a lot of chains say EVM compatible, but sometimes there are surprises that pop up. And I understand with Zeta Chain, we use the Ethermint module, and like it's pretty much out of the box. You deploy the contracts, and with very minimal code change, these apps become interoperable with connected chains, including Bitcoin. Any perspective to share on the deployment process for devs?
Yeah, so we are indeed using the Ethermint Cosmos SDK module, which is also used on some other popular chains out there. So it's a battle-tested module that has been in production for about 2 years now, I think, or at least a year and a half, I would say. As per their documentation, it's 100% opcode compatible. Haven't tested that personally, but I haven't really heard any really concerns about contracts not being compatible. So it's pretty much the same EVM experience that you have on other chains, which is exactly what we want, right? We don't want to differentiate in that area. We want to provide the best developer experience, and EVM does exactly that. So yeah.
Cool. So there's hope for me. And we'll talk about this more with the Stack Up team right after this. I guess to close out just a bit on Bitcoin, and Goose, you alluded to earlier, obviously Bitcoin is the biggest network with the most liquidity on it. Curious how you see native Bitcoin support impacting just the broader Web3 industry. Any predictions or perspective to share there?
Sure. I mean, I don't know about predictions or nothing, but I think obviously, it increases, price discovery, ease for new entrants. We're obviously always talking about in Web3 onboarding, right? Onboarding new users. It's been pretty complicated in the past, but it's getting better and better, and more projects are making it easier and easier. Such as you guys, but I mean, it's less steps, right? Like it's almost like bringing them into the EVM network, right? I mean, it's kind of for a while been Bitcoin, and then kind of everything else, and now obviously there's a bunch of L1s, and there's Cosmo, there's all kinds of stuff, but just in the at its most base level, I mean, I think it's just a simplicity thing as well. Like, I mean, it makes it easier, it's more accessible. With any luck here too, it'll help bring a bunch of these volumes over from sexes to dexes as well, right? We're constantly trying to claw stuff back from them, and I think that's a big part. I mean, it's just so easy to get a lot of that stuff on sexes. I mean, this is just another step towards kind of providing that sex-like experience, but decentralized and for everybody.
Right.
Permissionless. So I think, I mean, I think just the ease and simplicity of it, and then the fact that, I mean, I think it can just get in more people's hands. It helps drive volume to the decentralized stuff that we're all working towards here. And I mean, I just think it's another large leap forward towards onboarding the masses and getting everybody settled up here.
Yep. Decentralized and secure. No
exactly
wrapping or locking
exactly.
tokens. Yeah.
And access, just overall access,
Right. And Dennis, like your thoughts here. We're talking about Sushi deploying a DEX here for trading, but technically with ZetaChain you can program these DeFi apps to any sort of DeFi app to accept and use native Bitcoin and build with what we call these Bitcoin smart contracts. I'm curious, like, what's possible here? How do you see this impacting the future of crypto?
So I think being able to accept BTC as input is huge, and it doesn't really matter if what you're building is necessarily like the whole logic is on ZetaChain, although it's probably the most maintainable architecture because it's not only compatible with the chains that are currently connected, but it's almost future proof, right? For it's compatible with chains that will be added later on, which is a pretty big advantage. You don't often see that. But also, like, even if you're building on a different chain, you can use ZetaChain and deploy and build a contract that will let you accept BTC as payment, then process it and send it in a different token. For example, if you have an app chain for gaming, right? So you have a very popular game, you might not be able to process all transactions on a smart contract chain. You decided to build your own, but you don't have direct interoperability with Bitcoin, but you have, I don't know, hundreds of millions of people holding Bitcoin who might be willing to who would like to use these tokens to purchase assets in your game, for example. So you can use ZetaChain for that, right? So users will send BTC to ZetaChain your contract on Zeta Chain will process this payment and forward it to your to the chain that you're building your dApp on. So yeah, the possibilities are really limitless. And personally, I'm still kind of interested and hopeful that someone is going to build something related to staking, specifically trying to kind of connect BTC to increase security of Zeta Chain, for example. I think that's a very interesting area of research, and the tech that Zeta Chain provides kind of facilitates that.
Yeah, using native assets on any chain to secure other blockchains. If any devs are listening, there's an opportunity. Cool. So yeah, maybe we'll catch Goose on Jiro on another Zeta Radio. I know you guys have to run to another Spaces, so everyone that
I think
you
he's
just
actually he hopped in here real quick. If you want to pull him up, I believe he wanted to talk about that engineering lift.
from a Sushi official account. Or
No, I think he's on his account.
let me see. What's the handle? Jiro.
Yeah, it's like 0x Giro.
Let's see. All right, got him. Jiro, invite your way. We'll give him a second here. Jiro, you got a speaker invite. Yeah, I think we're going to have to move on, unfortunately. I can try to loop him back in after the next section, if that's cool.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. And if I don't get another chance to speak, thank you so much for having us on, man. This is great. And
Oh, I
love to
see.
do
I
it
see
again.
Jiro.
Oh,
Yeah.
there we go.
Hey y'all, how's it going? Sorry for the late join. Appreciate y'all having me up here.
No worries. Yeah, I think it would be super cool. We're just wrapping up this section on sushi. You know, you've gone through the Zeta docs. As you deploy sushi on Zeta Chain, we're curious how that process is from a developer standpoint.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's really not too bad because it's EVM based. So a lot of like I did most of the XSwap contracts, and a lot of that's like pretty like movable over there. The cool thing too is like obviously like most of my coding's done in like Solidity, so I can continue using Solidity and I don't have to like learn Rust or some of these other kind of wonky languages that are coming out for these blockchains. But yeah, like I mean, the process will be pretty normal. It'll be like deploying on most EVMs. The cool thing is too, we'll have the opportunity to like build some new stuff, utilizing like the ZRC20s and you know, the different like Bitcoin wrappers and stuff like that. And yeah, so we'll be able to build like a couple cool adapters that, you know, takes in Bitcoin, and then we can kind of like circulate it to other chains and whatnot. And hopefully once the other like outside EVM networks are connected, maybe Doge one day, we can start getting some Doge swapping going and stuff like that. But yeah, there's really not much of a lift to it per se.
Right. Doge is possible, and we can extend this to anything else that the ecosystem cares about. Obviously, Bitcoin being the big one that is kind of all siloed off from the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Any next steps to share what the community can expect with a testnet deployment, and ultimately you guys will be a core launch partner?
Yeah, so I'd probably give it like maybe 2 weeks or so, and we'll have some test contracts deployed. I'm not sure if we'll have like a UI spun up, but I know like some partners like Beefy and stuff will have like they'll be hooking into our contracts and stuff, so you can kind of start playing with sushi on Zeta and whatnot. And yeah, maybe we'll spin up some other things like along the way if we get some good like development work on the adapters and everything, so we can kind of test out how those native swaps would work. But yeah.
Cool. We're pumped, and glad we could catch you for a few minutes. Everyone, you just heard from Jiro, lead developer at Sushi, and Goose, community lead. Guys, thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having us, and we're pumped as well. I'm super excited about getting going on Zeta Chain, and I think we can do a lot with you guys. It's gonna be really cool.
We are as well. Pumped. All right, I want to loop in Clement Lee, technical content developer at StackUp. We're going to transition into some news that just dropped 42 minutes ago. Clement, are you with us on ZetaRadio?
Yep. Hey, thanks for having me. I'm here.
Awesome. So, yeah, the headline coming out this morning, ZetaChain partners with StackUp to unlock 150,000 Web3 devs building the Omni-chain future. Basically, this is our first Zeta developer curriculum, and we'll be releasing courses on how to build Omni-chain dApps. Would be great to hear a quick intro from you and catch us up on what your team is building at StackUp.
Okay, so hey everyone, Clement here. So I'm a content developer at StackUp, where I work on the overall content production on our platform. So to paint a better picture of StackUp, so I'm sure you have heard of developer education platforms like Udemy, where developers have to pay a fee to enroll in the course to get started. So at StackUp, we are flipping that model. So we are a learn and earn educational platform helping developers transition from Web 2 to Web 3. So we aim to make learning and education not just accessible globally, but also rewarding developers for their time. And as mentioned, to date, we have over 150,000 active developers on our platform. So what makes StackUp unique is how we have improved the overall learning experience for developers, where instead of traditionally going on YouTube watching lengthy coding tutorials on, our platform is gamified, where all our content is packaged into a series of interactive quests and campaigns. And this is specifically designed to make like learning more seamless and much more interactive for navigating complex topics such as blockchains and smart contract development.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Nice. And yeah, not all of us are as skilled as Jiro, super technical developers. Like, who's a good fit? Like, beginners learning to deploy and write smart contracts, can they join the program? And also, what can people expect out of it as far as learning? And there's also some rewards, I understand.
Yeah, sure. So let me share more about our Learn and Earn program at StackUp. So essentially, our program is for all developers. So whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned developer like Jiro. So essentially, our program is tailored to make learning accessible and engaging for developers across all skill levels. And the core of StackUp lies in our quest-based model. So we have packaged our quests into a series of interactive and kept them bite-sized. So in each quest, developers can expect to learn key concepts in a structured manner. And they are also designed with the assumption that these developers are starting from scratch. So they ensure that the concept is easy to grasp, and essentially everyone is starting from the basics. So to onboard everyone. So by the end of each quest, there will be key deliverables that players will have to submit to qualify for the rewards. And unlike typical learn and earn programs, which operates on a first come first serve basis, StackUp places a greater emphasis on the quality of submissions. So higher quality submissions will be eligible for rewards over the others. And there will be a capped number of rewards, where it means that only the fastest players with the most accurate submissions will be eligible. And then the winners will be selected by the StackUp team based on their merits. And another point to note is that as players progress through this quest, the quest gradually increases in complexity and difficulty. So hence, to incentivize learning and challenge developers to go beyond their boundaries, we will offer higher rewards for this higher difficulty quests. So hence the term learn and earn. So to summarize everything, so whether you're taking your first steps into Web3 development or looking to expand your Web3 tech stack, our Learn and Earn program is definitely a great fit for you. So yeah.
Perfect. Great. And everyone listening, there's a pinned tweet up with the full blog post that you can read through. And there's a sign up link that's going to kick off on December 1st, this Friday. Dennis, I want to get your thoughts on the program. You've been making huge contributions to Zeta documentation, new tutorial videos and stuff. How do you see this complementing those efforts and improving developer experience on Zeta Chain? What are you most excited about with this program?
Yeah, I'm very excited about the collab between Zeta Chain and StackUp. There are several reasons for that. One is I think it's a great platform and it complements what we already have in terms of developer experience, right? We have tutorials, but they're more like textbook tutorials, right? And they're meant to be this way. They're you can follow them and you can just read the whole thing, implement the app. But StackUp takes it to the next level with making them interactive, and that's so much easier to digest and internalize this knowledge if not only can you read the tutorial and kind of follow along, but you can actually kind of do it in a interactive manner. So this is really cool, and I think it's a great addition, and it's a very good fit because StackUp already has a lot of courses for Solidity developers, right? And with Zeta Chain, you build contracts for EVM. So it's a very good match because many developers who have some experience working with Solidity should know that there is a interoperability platform that lets them use the knowledge that they already have, the experience they already have, but build something that is interoperable from the grounds up, which is very important. So communicating that to a large group of developers who already have experience with Solidity, I think is very important, so that they know that if they want to build something that that could benefit from interoperability, and to be fair, that's probably like most dApps these days. So yeah, they will learn about Zeta Chain on StackUp.
Yeah, that's a really good point, which is that StackUp has tens of thousands of engaged developers already, and we've talked about in this spaces already, it's super easy to transition to deploying on Zeta Chain if you know Solidity and are familiar with EVM. So really good for the Zeta ecosystem. Clement, so the curriculum theme is quote future proofing your apps. The idea being with Zeta Chain, it's the only blockchain you'll ever need as a dev. You deploy once, you have access to users and native assets on all networks. As you've been digging into Zeta Chain, curious what you think of the development platform and why your team ultimately wanted to work with us. Anything to call out there?
Yep, sure. So personally diving into ZetaChain has been a real eye-opener with these two key features that was previously mentioned in this space. So first would be the omni-chain smart contracts. So with these smart contracts, it effectively eliminates the complexities that developers and users face when interacting with dApps across different blockchain networks. Where from a user's perspective, they previously without these smart contracts, users have to interact with cumbersome bridging infrastructure using wrap tokens, and developers having to manually deploy their smart contract on different blockchain network, and that's a hassle. So now with using omnichain smart contracts, developers and users can engage with a variety of dApps across different networks, all under a single entry point. And this makes the overall user and developer experience more seamless and intuitive. So second key factor will be unlocking Bitcoin potential, and this has also already been discussed. So with the implementation of the ZRC20 token standard, developers can create native cross-chain applications all within a unified blockchain ecosystem, and this is indeed a significant leap forward, as developers are now able to integrate Bitcoin into more complex blockchain applications beyond DeFi and more. And as mentioned by Dennis, developers with prior experience with Solidity, the transition to building on Zeta Chain is seamless and straightforward. There's no need to go through a steep learning curve of learning a new programming language such as Rust. And existing Solidity developers are able to leverage their existing expertise and explore and build innovative cross-chain applications and solutions. So summarizing, these key aspects were pivotal in our decision to partner with Zeta Chain, as we saw the value proposition for developers and Zeta Chain's approach to simplify blockchain interoperability. Hence, this is how this partnership came about, where we want to enhance the learning experience for developers to build future-proof dApps.
Love it. Yeah, I think I saw one of the quests was deploying native cross-chain swap that interacts with Bitcoin. So that'll come soon.
Yep.
And again, this is a hands-on interactive course, really, and it's going to continue into next year. So I guess as far as next steps, December 1st kickoff, what's the call to action to developers interested in getting involved?
I think right now is checking out Zeta Chain's Discord, following them on Twitter, and looking at their docs. So this is to prepare them for the campaign launch this Friday. So what can you expect in this first campaign is that there will be 3 quests in total, which aims to introduce players to Zeta Chain and Omnichain contracts. And by the end of this campaign, players who have deployed their first Omnichain contract and written a cross-chain swap contract and explored the possibilities of EVM and Bitcoin interoperability. So I would say these are the 3 factors. Yeah. So if you want to find out more, you can just check out the pinned tweet on the spaces. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll share updates. We drop the news in the developer zone in Discord. So very excited, and we appreciate your work writing out all of the content for the courses with Dennis. So everyone, that's Clement Lee, the technical content developer at StackUp. And Clement, thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. So that's Learn to Earn on the developer side, the first program of its kind for Zeta Chain. And then you guys have seen with OKX and now Bitget Wallet, we're also doing a ton of testing and Learn to Earn on the community side of things. Bitget Wallet released a press release just the other week. They debuted their Task to Get product. This is a Web3 exploration product with Zeta Chain. So we were honored, and it's a pretty cool thing. And we have Darren Wu on the line, Director of Content at Bitget Wallet. Darren, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Awesome. Well, welcome to Zeta Radio. Maybe catch us up on your background, history of Bitget Wallet, like how you guys grew to 12 million users. You're one of the biggest wallet solutions out there. Would love to hear more.
Yeah, cool. Thanks so much for that. And also thanks so much for the kind words. So, hey everyone, very happy to be here. My name is Darren, and I'm the Global Director of Content for Bitget Wallet. So we actually first started out as Bitkeep in 2018, where we were mostly focused on, getting the basics done right as a decentralized and non-custodial wallet, right? So you have things like smooth asset management and security and so on and so forth. But I think moving forward, especially after we went on to the DeFi summer, we realized that we had to really change our perspective and our mission in order to truly serve the needs of our community and our users. So we had to go above and beyond the definition of a wallet to really bring about that true mass adoption and achieve that ideal product market fit, which then led us to integrating more features on our wallet, such as our dApp browser for Web3 exploration. You have your Bitget Wallet NFT marketplace, and of course, we have our really powerful swap feature as well called Bitget Swap, which is all integrated within the wallet application itself, which offers users a way to not just securely manage their assets, but also to grow their overall DeFi portfolio. So we hit our 10 million user milestone earlier this year in Q1, and we received also a $30 million investment from Bitget Exchange, which led to our rebranding as Bitget Wallet, now with a stronger focus on trading. So we have that very powerful support and trading infrastructure that we are leveraging on from Bitget Exchange. And so our new brand slogan, Trading Starts Here, basically encapsulates what we want to offer for our users as we progress forward with this renewed focus on emphasis on upgrading our trading experience, just offering things like gasless trading, automatic slippage adjustments, you have gas abstraction, and a whole host of other features. And this really was quite successful for us because we saw our global user count now exceeding 12 million in Q3. And I think this is this also set the pace for other wallets in the industry, including things like Uniswap X, right, to also leverage upon features like gasless trading to really embrace that idea of a true blue Web3 trading wallet. So yeah, this is a very brief summary of the history that we got here. So we're very happy to be in this space.
Nice, yeah, and congrats again on the fundraise and that user milestone.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, so for Test to Get, tell us like how long has it been in the works and what's the thinking behind it? Learn to earn solutions. It's a noisy market, and how are you looking to position this product? And tell us more.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Task to Get has been in the works since I think Q1 of this year. And back then we were thinking about, how do we actually go beyond just simple integrations and collaborations with our project partners and really achieve that meaningful partnership that can be mutually beneficial to not just our project partners, but also our shared user base as well. And, the communities that we are building and trying to intermingle from both sides, which is how we then came about with Task to Get. And for those who may be hearing this for the first time, Task to Get is basically an incentivized exploration and interaction platform where you will get rewards ranging from unique NFTs, project tokens, for completing delegated interaction tasks with our partnered project, which in this case is ZetaChain, which is also our first feature project to kick off Task to Get. So we're very excited about that. We just launched a week ago, and I think so far it's been really exciting for us, but more on the numbers later on. So I think Task to Get came about when we saw a couple of things going on, right? So from a perspective, our user demographic is divided into two really broad categories, right? On the one hand, you have users who want to explore more about Web3, but didn't really know where to start. And on the other hand, you have more experienced users who already knew about Web3, but wanted to, better capitalize on their time there, better make use of their time there. So, let's talk about the first group of users, right? So I think it's pretty understandable for users, especially new ones, to find Web3, a little intimidating, a little overwhelming. You have so many different kinds of projects in Web3. You have your AI categories, you have your bridges, your oracles, your dexes, your lending protocols, staking protocols, NFTs, and all that. So it can get a little bit overwhelming for them. So we wanted to provide a really streamlined, user-friendly path for users to actually get a viable entry point for them to just easily, hop onto a promising project, learn and interact from it, and experience getting rewarded for the effort and independent exploration, which I personally feel really encapsulate the spirit and ethos of Web3. And I think Task to Get achieves this objective and product market fit for this consumer group by making Web3 discovery that much more seamless and rewarding, right? We're talking simple step-by-step instructions and clear interactions with different projects right from the convenience of your Bitget Wallet application. And you really get all the information you would need to discover promising projects. You have things like ZetaChain, you have the dApps building on ZetaChain. They are all really powerful and really exciting. And that also even lines you up, for potential rewards in the future. So for the second category of users that I was talking to you about, which is basically the more experienced ones, right? So we discovered that things like airdrop hunting has been increasingly popular in recent times, especially with improving market conditions. But there was a problem, which was a progressive friction and lack of consumer engagement. So you access the faucet, you apply for test tokens, you perform some simple interactions, and you hope for the best in the long run, right? And you rinse and repeat for perhaps 5 or 6 projects that week, and it can get really tiring and tedious after a while. I've done it. I'm still doing it, and it can get very, very tiresome. So, I'm not going to oversell Task to Get by saying that it completely revolutionizes this process, but I like to think that we make it just a little bit more engaging and practically useful for users as well. So, for instance, we reward users with NFTs of varying rarity counts upon the successful completion of each delegated task. And these NFTs aren't just commemorative, right? They also have that element of surprise due to their varying rarity levels, and it also allows us to track their interaction progress and rankings, while also serving as an eligibility token for potential future airdrops from us, which I personally feel is a lot more of a humane touch in giving these airdrop hunters, these testers, these developers really that pat on the back for their hard work, right? And also encouraging them along their journey of Web3 exploration. So I think in that sense, everyone really leaves Task to Get as a winner. So I'm sorry for rambling on a bit, but TLDR, Task to Get is about making discovering and engaging with these projects like ZetaChain really straightforward, really accessible, and more importantly, really, really rewarding. So yeah, thanks.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I like the passion and we're excited about it too. And you make a lot of good points. The UX is super simple. You can navigate to the product page right in the Bitget Wallet mobile app and start engaging with these omni-chain dApps. Yeah, I believe it's been out for 2 weeks or so and already crossed 100K users. And this is something that we want to continue leading up to and after mainnet as developers build new compelling omni-chain dApps. This is a way to support them and help users engage and provide feedback and stuff. So we're really excited about it. Why debut with ZetaChain? That's a pretty big decision on the team.
Yeah, so I think ZetaChain has really been on our radar for quite a long while now, and we published our first collaborative article actually on our Academy page earlier this year in September, which basically detailed the mechanics behind ZetaChain. And there's really been a lot of discussions going on behind there. And I think what's really notable is, for me personally, I think most of the speakers here in the space, even before me, have already gone fairly in depth with the technicalities of ZetaChain. But I think what really draws me is ZetaChain's mission, right, which involves the ability for users to access different blockchains easily. You have your omni-chain, you have that interoperability standard. And I think this pretty much aligns with a lot of the work we are doing at Bitget Wallet, which is A, to provide, really secure and convenient access for users to experience the world of Web3, whether it's by browsing NFTs, performing swaps, or accessing different dApps, and B, to really provide that good UX, which ultimately I believe is key to onboarding more users and really achieving that goal of mass adoption, right? So, there's been a lot of talk in industry about solvers and intent-based architecture, and I think we are seeing good progress all around in the industry to create a more seamless and more convenient avenue for users to better experience Web3. So, I think that's something I really appreciate about ZetaChain, really working towards that goal and trying to bring Web3 that much closer to our users. And yeah, so our campaign has crossed our 1 week mark. I think we're really seeing very promising numbers. We're seeing the total number of participants breaching the 130K mark recently with a really promising upward trend as well. So hopefully we'll see this number hitting 200K soon. As for the evolution of the program, I think I really want to just put it out there that we really hope that this program will, and we do have plans for this program to really, go the long run, even after the mainnet launch and everything. So, we want to continue building with the existing dApps and even expanding our Task to Get projects, collaborations, and dApps with other builders on the ecosystem as well, because I think all this goes on to our effort of really building up that ZetaChain ecosystem that, is beneficial, not just for ZetaChain and Bitget Wallet, but also for our users as well.
100%. Yeah, a lot of opportunity for the market to not just discover ZetaChain apps and stuff, but what are the innovative and important things out there that people should care about. And you also bring up a good point, which is ZetaChain is an L1 blockchain and it's super technical and you can dive into the white paper and stuff, but end of day, the mission is to make things really simple and users can have one wallet like Bitget Wallet, one universal gas coin, Zeta, and you can interact with any chain and dApps on any network, including Bitcoin, which I did want to close out on this topic. So we discussed it a bit earlier, you guys are going to be enabling support for native Bitcoin in your wallet, and essentially 12 million users are going to be able to interact with Bitcoin in the broader DeFi world with trading apps like Sushi and all sorts of other stuff. And there's no wrapping or locking the Bitcoin. What does this mean for Bitget Wallet users, and what's kind of the broader impact here on unlocking Bitcoin liquidity, in your opinion?
Yeah, thanks so much for that question. I think BTC has really been on fire ever since the explosion of, ordinals and BRC20 inscriptions in May. And since then, I think we've seen a lot of similar innovations on other blockchains as well. You have things like inscriptions, and more recently even on Solana with the SPL20 inscriptions. So, the future of BTC has always been a pretty divisive one. And I don't want to offend any BTC maximalists in the audience, so I'll try to keep this as neutral as possible. But you have on one hand the friendly maxes or the purists who don't necessarily want to see the Bitcoin mainnet diverging away from its quote unquote original ethos of protecting savings, hedging against inflation, while also making a political statement. And on the other hand, you have the broader Web3 community who are more open to the idea of diversification, right, on the Bitcoin network, and are embracing innovations like the Ordinals protocol, like BRC20. They see it as a way of positive evolution for the Bitcoin mainnet. So I think both visions are fair and definitely have their merits. But I do want to say that the middle ground here would probably be basic access to Bitcoin, which is something we want to provide for from Bitget Wallet, right? By providing a convenient way for users to access the broader DeFi world using Bitcoin, I think we're really opening doors for a ton more people to participate in Web3, including the OG hodlers who may not have bought Bitcoin as a means of Web3 exploration, but perhaps purely as an investment like gold. But unlocking greater liquidity in Web3, in my opinion, also further democratizes the overall system in a sense that it's now going to be a lot easier for users to get their hands on Bitcoin. It also encourages Bitcoin holders to participate in, or rather consider participating in DeFi at the very least, fostering greater innovation in building protocols and platforms that leverage Bitcoin's liquidity. And most importantly, I think also enhancing overall interoperability across different blockchain networks, which I think is probably an a priori good, and it's something that both ZetaChain as well as Bitget Wallet that we are working towards right now. Having that seamless access and Bitcoin liquidity is going to really help and enhance that, because now you have more users, being able to utilize the tokens. You have less friction in trying to interact with different dApps out there and make purchases, make trades, transfers. And I think that really, streamlines the entire Web3 ecosystem just by having this unlocking done.
Yep. Yeah, a ton of demand for it, and it'll be at users' fingertips within the Bitget Wallet mobile app. So we'll keep everyone updated on when that rolls out. And that's you just heard from Darren Wu. He's the director of content at Bitget Wallet. To participate in the incentivized campaign, you download Bitget Wallet and then navigate to the task to get page where you'll find ZetaChain. Darren, thank you for hopping on ZetaRadio.
Yep, thanks so much for having me, guys. Oh, sorry, by the way, just before I hop off, if you want to have free, some free stuff up for grabs, you can just head over to the Bitget Wallet Twitter page. There is a pinned comment right at the top. So if you RC it and show us the NFC you received from Task to Earn, you can stand a chance to win an EC100 USDT. So, yep, sorry, that's about it. Thank you so much for having me.
No, that's a good last update. I'm sure people are pumped about that. Thank you. So yeah, let's move to infrastructure here. We released the first official Zeta ecosystem map on all of the infrastructure services and providers. This is a stack that is now supporting over 150 app partners to date. And joining us on the line is core contributor Charlie McCowan, leading DevOps and security at ZetaChain. Charlie, are you with us?
Yes, hey.
Hello.
Here, excited
Awesome.
to talk about infrastructure.
Yeah, so I want to get your perspectives on the current infra stack. Basically, all of the core components for a blockchain ecosystem are obviously there. There's been like 14 million cross-chain transactions to date, obviously supporting hundreds of applications. As you think about like a minimum viable product ecosystem for launch, how are we positioned? What's kind of the ideal future state of where we want to improve things and get to?
Yeah, it's a good question. Right, so MVP, right, you need to make sure you have like MVP for the network itself, right? How do you have enough validators? You have the developer experience, right? Do you have the basic tools they need? And then above and beyond that, do you have tools that make their lives easier? And then the user experience, right? Is there an Explorer and all other apps users actually want to use? And I do think we have pretty much all that covered. We've got a pretty solid MVP. We're going to keep growing though, because we want to make sure that the launch experience is exceptional, not just the basics. But I think we're in a really good place there. I know the team's continuing to talk to other groups, get more partnerships, more projects on board, and making sure that all the different user groups that I mentioned, right, all have an exceptional experience once we hit mainnet.
Yeah. And the tweet's pinned up in the spaces for you guys to check out. There were some major partners that came on board. Everyone was asking about Pith for Oracle services, so that's now live. Protofire is live for developers or DAOs to build with a Gnosis safe, and there's a ton of other updates on that. On the DevOps side of things, obviously there's this huge category on the map for validators, and they've been running in a decentralized way since the release of the Athens 3 testnet. Maybe you could talk about what happens as ZetaChain graduates to mainnet and the future of this validator category.
Yeah. So, I mean, the validator category is going to continue to grow over time, especially as more people want to get into the ZetaChain ecosystem. We have the incentivized testnet right now where we're running, I think there's close to 100 validators operating. Not all of them are validator servers. It's not all 100 individual groups. But what they're doing, right? They're getting practice. We're also internally practicing our communication methods. We're getting better at communicating updates to them, giving them the tools they need to make updates easier. We want to make a easy experience for the validator operators. And once we do go to mainnet, essentially there'll be, again, just communication with these groups, having them spin up a new set of validators that will operate on mainnet, and the testnet validator group may get smaller because now those people may go focus their time on mainnet. But what we are encouraging people to do is run both, so that as we roll out updates to a testnet, they can be familiar with them. They make sure their infrastructure works, make sure their monitoring works, and then rolls out to mainnet a few weeks later.
Right. Yeah. Testnet is a simulated environment, and that will be maintained for the long term. As far as how validation works, we being built on Cosmos SDK, I think we adopt a lot of those same parameters. And then there are also some special roles like observer signers for generating outbound transactions to external chains. Maybe you could talk a bit about that. Like Figment was in this last article, and they're doing observer signing and also providing staking services. Could you help make sense of that?
Yeah. So I think there's two big points there, right? The observer signers and then also staking services. So we'll dive into the observer signer piece first. We have two sets of validators on our network. We have our core validators, which, like you mentioned, are borrowing from the native or kind of the core Cosmos SDK based functionality. And we have a lot of those, right? So I think we can have up to more than 100 of those securing the network, and they're securing the ZetaChain blockchain itself. So that's both the Cosmos side and the ZEVM piece. They're very similar to other Cosmos validators. Anyone can set one up. Anyone can stake to them. And that's one of the things that Figment is doing, is they're actually making it easier for groups and especially institutions who want to stake their Zeta to one of these core validators, which will help, again, secure the network. It allows more people to participate in the network, and it allows users and institutions to participate in staking without the technical expertise needed to run a validator. Because there's a lot of things involved, right? You got to learn how to set up the server itself, how to run ZetaChain software, how to monitor it and make sure it stays reliably, that kind of stuff. So that is the staking services piece. And then on top of that, we have what we call our observer signer nodes. These are a very special, smaller group of validators. Their focus is the cross-chain, omni-chain elements. So they're actually observing events happening on these external chains. So when you do a, let's say a cross-chain swap, they are verifying both sides of that transaction to see that, oh, yep, we see information coming in, or we see transactions coming in, we see the transactions going out, and verifying all that works correctly. And the signer piece of that is they are signing those outbound transactions. So I know Dennis spoke about this earlier, where when users send funds to ZetaChain, it's managed by an address that's controlled by the protocol. The protocol, the nodes that are controlling that address are the observer signers. They collectively kind of come together and sign transactions, but no individual validator can actually sign a transaction by itself. It requires the collaboration of all of them. So if one of them, or even a few of them get compromised, user funds are never at risk because it's, this decentralized, secure method of doing multi-party computation and signing anything that's supposed to be sent out on external chains.
Yep. Yeah, what Charlie's describing is the TSS threshold signature scheme, and it makes ZetaChain really special because you don't have to deploy your smart contract on a bunch of different chains and maintain them. You just deploy on ZetaChain, and then that omni-chain smart contract can manage those accounts on external chains in a decentralized way that he just described. Speaking of security, and we don't have to get into like a whole overview here, but I know Code for Arena is a program that's going to kick off soon if it hasn't already. What is that, and how does it complement a lot of behind the scenes programs like bug bounties and chain analysis, security audits, all that stuff?
Yeah. So the key thing with security is there's no silver bullet for it, right? You can't do one thing and say, "Great, we're done with security now." It's an ongoing, consistent, multi-layered approach, and so it starts with our developers writing secure, code, designing secure systems. We could do observer signer. We could have one server that just goes out there and does all the transactions, but that wouldn't be secure. So you have to build out the architecture and all these different layers. So Code Arena is a different type of auditing. Typically, a more traditional auditing firm, you essentially are giving them, you get a quote for however many engineering weeks, and you get a cost, and you basically hand over the money. They say they spent this much time working on it, and then they give you a list full of bugs. And it's an interesting model because you kind of just have to take what they give you, right? Like you're hiring them to be experts and find bugs. So you can't really come in and say, well, you didn't find, if you don't find bugs, it's either you did a great job or they did a bad job, right? And so with Code Arena, what they do, it's a more competitive environment. So instead of being a flat X amount of dollars per week, they actually have a competitive prize pool. So there's a series of independent security experts who come in and they review the code and they get rewarded by a set of judges. The judges are Code Arena, I think wardens is what they call them. But the idea is people who find rare bugs. So if everyone finds a really simple, like integer overflow, right, and 100 people find that, there's not a very big reward. But if someone dives real deep into something and discovers a very unique bug, and they're the only one who discovers it, that warrants a higher reward, even more so if it's a really impactful bug.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah, we appear to be gamifying everything. Bug bounties, dev learning with the Stack Up news, and then obviously app testing with Bitget Wallet and ongoing Cryptopedia campaign. All of this is really great in terms of preparing for mainnet launch. So yeah, you just heard from Charlie. He's contributing to DevOps and security at ZetaChain. Charlie, thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always nice to get out of the dark room and come up here for the light and talk some.
We'll bring you back. All right, so Carrot DAO's in the waiting room, and then we'll wrap up with community. This is, I told you this was going to be jam-packed. So, yeah, the Carrot DAO team is, I believe, dropping news like really shortly, and I'm going to learn about this program with all of you listening. We have Rudy Rong, the CEO and founder of Carrot DAO, on the line. Rudy, are you with us?
Yes, yes.
Excellent. Thanks again for waiting around. So, yeah, we're talking a lot about learn to earn programs on ZetaChain for users and developers. It looks like Carrot DAO plays in this space, maybe more on like the content creator influencer side. Would love to learn more, first of all, about your background and then the different stuff that Carrot DAO is building.
Totally. Yeah, so Caradao, we started out around a year ago, and our focus was really how do we, bring the next tens of millions of users from Web 2 to Web 3. And we started out doing a lot of data aggregations, and we had our tools like Cara AirDrop, Launchpad, Cara Dashboard, Cara Forms. And eventually, we issued our own ID called Cara ID, which utilizes MPC and ZK technology that connects users' Web 2 credentials, including your Twitter, email, phone number, Steam credentials onto blockchain. However, we also put a privacy protection layer on it using zero knowledge technologies and MPC private keys. So basically, the users can choose the level of access different dApps have on these on-chain verifiable credentials. So it's perfectly safe. It's perfectly private. You have the full control of how much you want to show and how much you don't want to show, right? And with that being placed, you're able to use your ID in different dApps, including with all of our partner dApps, like all the games, and on our Carrot Club, which is, as what Johnson described, a socialfied dApp really surrounding content creators, right? So with Carrot Club, the content creators are actually able to start profiting through their fan base from day one by it's kind of like a healthy model where all the early subscribers can choose to stake into different spaces, and if they like the content, they think the content is going to attract more people, become super promising, right? And unlike from Tech or other SocialFi, you don't require to buy a certain key, so the minimum is pretty low. So your minimum to enter and subscribe is around $5. Then if you like it a lot, you think it's really promising, you can choose to stake hundreds of thousands of dollars into each space as well. So we currently have 350,000 people registered ID, but we started out on a different chain on the thing, but now we obviously are moving to Zeta, and we're really looking forward to the omni-chain interoperability features. As everyone was introducing, we're really looking to let leveraging on data and let people to stake all kind of tokens into the spaces, paying data as a gas, including Bitcoin, Dodge, and other coins as well. We really like the feature that it enables people to no longer need to use a bridge and wait around and avoid our risk of our own bridge, which we're using right now after the mainnet launches. So yeah, we definitely are really looking forward to that, to integrate that feature during the mainnet launch, and we already started looking into implementing it on the testnet. But we have already launched our data ID, the Carrot ID through the data testnet, so everyone can go and free claim on our Carrot.com sites already. So if you want a Carrot ID today, you can definitely go and claim. It is our initial cornerstone moving into the data chain ecosystem.
Very cool. So it sounds like, well, first of all, there's the Carrot ZID. This is what sounds like a chain agnostic NFT if it's on Zeta Chain. And then you also mentioned you can deposit Bitcoin or really any token from any chain into the platform. Any more to share on that integration?
Yeah, so that part is still in the process, right? So currently, we have it's kind of like a SocialFi app, Club, which everyone can try out right now. Basically, we have different KOLs, content creators, from like trading sides. There's a lot of trading KOLs, and there's content side. There's like OnlyFans type KOLs there as well. Then you got a lot of projects, including like Leda, Neo, a lot of big gaming projects out there. So you can choose the ones you like the most and stake into their space. And betting on their space contents are going to get more publicity, more hype, etc. Right. So with after the data chain integration, we are there. Currently, you can only stake KT, which is Carrot token, and we currently using our own bridge for you to convert all your assets on other chains into KT. But after the data chain integration, we're in we will be able to let users to stake all kind of tokens, right? So include Coin and many other different chains tokens into the staking, and we're planning to leveraging on that to work with definitely different projects on different chains to make different make a more tailored version of the Club SocialFi app for different projects as well. So it definitely opens a lot of doors for us to do omni-chain collabs with others.
Very cool. Yeah, I didn't realize this was a strategic part of the roadmap. So, yeah, we're looking forward to helping with that stuff. You mentioned a bit about the incentivization mechanic. It might remind people of all the friend tech hype earlier this year. How is it similar, different?
Oh, totally. Yeah, we'd love to dive into that a little more. So, we wanted to create a social fighting app way before Friend.tech. However, they definitely published first. We were taking some time on the designing, on the details, etc. But yes, so on the differences, so there are a couple problems that we found from the tech are not solving, or we got a lot of complaints from the KOLs in our ecosystem on Front.tech is that you have to, in Front.tech, the counterintuitive part is that you have to sell your key for as a fans, or if you're a content creator, you need your fans to sell your key and quit your chat for you to make any money, right? Which is kind of counterintuitive because theoretically you will want everyone to stay longer. However, if they stay, no one's making any money, and so you're basically the platform incentivizing the content creators to encourage people to quit and join again, or join and quit, right? In Club, however, it's different that the longer you stay, you actually make more because it's a staking reward and it's daily distributed. So it really incentivizes both the content creators and these stakers to hold on longer, to join longer, and to play the long game, which is really cool. And the daily reward is kind of like reassuring. Everything come on here, you see something new, you get new rewards. You see like how the charts are changing for every different spaces. Then the second thing is obviously our zero knowledge technology enables people to do space anonymously, right? So for example, you can verify your email through your email or through your wallet that you're from Binance or you're from whatever projects, and you can post tips, rumors, stories without really disclosing who you are. So that's kind of a cool part as well, right? So all these it opens a lot of doors for anonymous social through on-chain SocialFi apps, through Carrot Club. So that's another key differences. And the third one is that because it's staking, so it's there's not like a key price goes up dramatically, right? So a lot of problems that RKLs faced when they joined Friends.tech is that their key price got to north of $1,000 or $2,000 within a couple of weeks, right? Then the people who are buying after the key goes up are the ones are deemed to lose money, right? Because first, Friend.tech is taking like 30% fees throughout the process, so there was definitely an outflow. Then the people who buy at north of $1,000 are most likely the last batch of people who joining that specific channel, right? So they will definitely lose around $500 or so, and they would end up turning back to the KOL, be like, "Yo, you need to reimburse me for that money?" So in the end, because it was 30% outflow and the design of the mechanism, everyone loses, right? So in the Capital Club, it's a lot better because firstly, even if you're a late joiner, you're not required to pay hundreds and thousands of dollars to join space. The minimum is always around $5. But you always have the option to stake more if you think you're not the last one. There are more people to join after, right? So it is really a safer model for KOLs and their fans. So no one is forced to do anything. It's more of how much faith you have in the space you're staking, in the content creator you're joining.
Nice. Yeah, this is the beauty of Web3 composability. We can look at things in the past and open source code, how has it worked, and then iterate on the design. So I'm curious to see how this shapes up. Obviously, we're talking about a bunch of different programs in the Zeta ecosystem for hackers, developers, app testers. It sounds like people into creating content and KOLs would be a great fit for Carrot DAO.
Totally.
Maybe talk about, who's a good fit, and how can people get involved? It sounds like the IDs are live right now.
Yeah, totally. So currently with the ID system, we are converting our 330 original validators who are KOLs in mainly Asian countries, including Hong Kong, Singapore, Korea, and Japan, into Zeta. Right now, we already spread the words. They will start sending out announcements about it soon. But obviously, we're welcoming anyone to join. Right now, it's in the testnet, so it's a testing stage. But you will be able to get a valid. If you think you're a KOL in the data ecosystem, definitely just give us a DM. We'll set you up, and you can start onboarding your fans, into the data ecosystem, into Carrot ID, and getting a lot of perks, airdrops, etc.
Sweet. Well, shoot us the tweet call to action when it's ready, and we'll give that a retweet from Zeta official. But yeah, I'm glad we could make this happen. Everyone, this is Rudy Rong. He's the CEO and founder of Carrot DAO. We're talking about a content creator influencer reward program. And yeah, we'll share those updates shortly. Rudy, thanks for jumping on.
Thank you so much, man.
Cool. All right, we're gonna wrap up here with White Sox, who's been waiting in the waiting room in Korea, pretty late over there. So we thank him for sticking with us. Tons of activities happening all around the world. There's just a meetup in India. The Dev Connect was full of events in Turkey, and then the Korean ecosystem has been doing a lot of stuff. There's a huge AMA the other week. So yeah, joining us on the line is White Sox. He is the ambassador and head of Zeta Chain Korea. White Sox, thanks for joining us.
Hello.
Hello. Cool. So yeah, thanks again for sticking around with us. I think a lot of people know you in the Korean community, but give us an intro for everyone else and tell us how you got involved with Zeta Chain.
Okay. Hello everyone. I'm very happy to be here. My Web3 nickname is White Sox, and it's not related in baseball team. Anyway, I'm currently working on Zeta Chain Korea ambassador. The reason how I get involved with ZetaChain was because I was interested in layer one projects and was interested in blockchain interoperability and also potential of omni-chain smart contracts. So I think I came this far because I did things that I could contribute to Jada Chain on behalf of Korea in the relatively early stages.
Yeah, it's been a while. When you joined, the Korean community was really small, and then just the other month we met at Korea Blockchain Week, and ZetaChain was sponsoring the grand party for that. And then you guys had this massive ecosystem call last week. Catch us up on the Korean crypto market in general and the state of ZetaChain ecosystem in Korea.
I participated in KVW in South Korea, Seoul. KVW Grand Party with ZetaChain was really amazing experience to me, and I really appreciate that. And the overall crypto market in South Korea seems to be that the most talked about altcoin go up and down over a period of time, and the Korean crypto market has always been important, but it's even more important now, I think. So it's a big place in the crypto industry. I personally think that Koreans tend to prefer to buy and sell altcoins that are more technical or topical than Bitcoin. Yeah.
Yeah, Korea, I believe the highest volume in trading of any market. So, and a lot of good developer talent there, and people building on ZetaChain. Yeah, I guess to wrap up here, you've been with us a while, and as you think about the mainnet, what are you most looking forward to with the launch of ZetaChain?
There's something I'm looking forward to ZetaChain is more interoperability on ZetaChain. Right now, the team and community seems to be focused on Bitcoin, but I think it would be huge if we could bring Solana, a non-EVM layer 1 project, and other EVM compatible layer 2 projects to ZetaChain. I even imagined the possibility that bridges would no longer be truly necessary. Some examples of another layer 2 project would be Starknet, Arbitrum, and Optimism, etc. So if we can technically continue to upgrade the mainnet after it launched and add other chains to increase interoperability, and if we can adjust the speed of cross-chain swaps to make it less inconvenient for people, I think ZetaChain could be a game changer in 2024. Thank you.
Thanks, White Sox. Yeah, 100%. And it's all technically possible. OP stack would be great. Turning on Cosmos, Solana, you mentioned in the future. What's important leading up to launch, and really the philosophy after that, is to connect to the chains that matter, that developers and users care about, versus for joining. And this brings us to the end of the spaces. We're off to ETH India and Taipei Blockchain Week after that. So we'll release another Zeta event calendar. If you're in those regions, a ton of events that you will be invited to. And then for everyone else, keep staying tuned on Twitter, Discord, and social, and a lot of exciting stuff planned and a lot of momentum that hopefully you have seen with all the speakers on this space. So thank you for joining, and we'll catch you next time. Cheers.